Prince Andrew has settled the sexual assault lawsuit brought against him in the United States by Virginia Giuffre. Now, it's on all the front pages. As you can see, this morning we just about had enough space for it, really, including overseas, with the New York Post calling the whole thing the clown. Of course, that's a take on Netflix's The Crown there. Well, Miss Giuffre had been suing the Duke of York, claiming he sexually assaulted her on 3 occasions when she was just 17. Allegations he strenuously denied then and actually still denies now. A letter filed to the US District Court just yesterday said the Duke and Miss Giuffre had reached an out-of-court settlement for an undisclosed amount. We haven't heard anything from the palace yet, have we?
Hi, CL. No, and don't hold your breath. Buckingham Palace not getting involved in this case and hasn't been involved for a couple of years, actually. They defer all inquiries to the Duke's legal team, and they are not speaking. We just have, as you've been going through that court document from New York yesterday, but Buckingham Palace just refers royal correspondents like me back to the statement last month when the Duke of York, Prince Andrew, surrendered all of his major patronages and military associations and agreed to stop using HRH, His Royal Highness, in public. So he is essentially a private citizen now. In terms of the funding which you were mentioning there for this settlement, some figures around £12 million today. Well, some of that could come from the sale of the Swiss ski chalet, which has been going through recently. But also you mentioned his mother, the Queen, who, of course, has vast and very lucrative land estates. She may well be funding or will be paying for at least some of this. Whether you consider that to be public money or not is up to your politics, really. I mean, it's land and estates that the Queen holds and profits from that, but it's not from taxpayers' money. That's the point I'm trying to make there. In terms of settling out of court, a lot of speculation that Charles and William have been driving this, and that William really drove the process last month, where the Duke stepped back from public duties when he said he wanted to fight this case in court. And there's no way back for him now. Charles and William have made it very clear that he is now not using HRH, and I think the only time we may see Prince Andrew, and I think this is understandable, is at the end of next month for the service of Thanksgiving for the life of his father, the Duke of Edinburgh. Prince Andrew may be seen at that, but in terms of other big royal events and the Platinum Jubilee this year, I don't think we'll be seeing the Duke of York at all. The bottom line is he's paid millions and millions of pounds now to a woman that he previously claimed he'd never met.
At one point he said he'd actively wanted to represent himself in court.
He wanted the jury, he wanted his day in court.
But of course this is a man who has access to the most expensive and best legal advice in the UK, of course, and I'd imagine after the Newsnight interview, they probably thought, no, that's not a good idea. But exactly as the correspondent said there, this has resulted in paying £12 million to someone he said he'd never met. So to me, it's an admission of guilt. You know, which
although
will
there
now
was
never
no admission
be...
of guilt,
and
we'll never know.
He hasn't made an admission of guilt, and that hasn't been proved, and we will never know. I personally, and it's only my opinion, and this isn't a legal statement, I think if you pay £12 million to someone that you say you've never met, that's very, very bizarre.
Which is pretty much what many people online were saying. We're already getting calls on this. Let's find out what people at home are saying, Storm.
We're going to speak to Kathleen from Birmingham, who says he was right to draw a line in the sand.
Kathleen, why do you think it was right for Prince Andrew to settle?
There's 2 reasons. One is that he's right to, as I say, to draw, but also his mother is 95 now. It is her special year. And you know, I think it's a lot for her to bear. But what I'm asking myself, and I'm not saying it didn't happen, but the young woman, this happened to her when she was 17 years old. Now,
she alleges.
She's already had one big payment out, and she's now got another big payment. But for me, as a woman, I would, if she's been so severely traumatised, no woman would really want to go into court and again and say what had happened to her.
This was never going to go to court for 2 reasons. One, because, as Kathleen pointed out, it's the Queen's
Jubilee, it's a platinum Jubilee year, in any case would have overshadowed that. More importantly, if Andrew had gone into the dock, he would have been asked questions about the Queen and what she knew about this. We couldn't subject our 95-year-old Queen to that. It's the second reason, and the most important reason for him, is that Victoria Giuffre has been represented by a lawyer called David Boyce.
You mean Virginia? Sorry, Virginia.
Sorry, Virginia.
Sorry. No,
I
sure.
can't do it. Virginia. She is being represented by a legal colossus, a guy called David Boyce. He is one of the best litigators in America. This guy is hired by multi-billion-dollar companies. He had said that he was very much looking forward to getting and to confronting Andrew in court about his denials and attempts to blame Miss Giuffre for her own abuse. And what he's alluding to there is Andrew had there'd been an article in a newspaper a few years ago that referred to Miss Giuffre as a money-hungry sex kitten. Andrew wanted to use that, and he was attempting to blame her for her own abuse. Now, David Boyce would have made mincemeat of Andrew. We saw how badly he fared in the Newsnight interview, an interview he thought had gone staggeringly well for him.
I know.
And it was a car crash. And so the lawyers were never going to allow him to go to court. All that nonsense 2 weeks ago, I demand my day in court, that was the arrogance.
I think it was a lead up to this. Or do you think it was all part of it? They always knew that they were going to settle.
The lawyers knew, but I think Andrew
the Queen
really
and Prince
believed...
Charles got together, didn't they, and just said, right, we've got to nip this in the bud.
Well, hence they knew. I think the Queen and the Queen and Charles knew they were going to settle because they took all his titles off him weeks ago, so they knew this was coming. But the arrogance of Andrew to imagine he could go to court and actually come out of this okay. The man's they call him the buffoon in the palace staff because he's not very bright. The idea he could stand up to this man in court is beyond.
Anyone with a sense of justice, I think, feels slightly conflicted about this, you know. And it's that privilege, that power, and that wealth, and that is the difference.
And it really appears, no matter what side people were on, it is that confliction that does come across.
He thought,
if I, was accused of something and I protested my innocence, I'd not done it. It's quite simple to me. Go to court because I have not done
Shirley, we're not talking about your everyday Joe. This is a member of the royal family. And as you say, you have nothing against the Queen, and this is not in any way has anything to do with the Queen. But at some point, you can imagine, Shirley, there would be that difficult conversation talking about how much the Queen knew. That could come up on the year where she's supposed to be celebrating her Platinum Jubilee.
Yeah, well, I know that. So he knew that even more. He's her son, and he still said it himself. He knew that when he was saying it. She's his mother. He knew that.
But surely, I think because of a lot of the stuff that's been thrown at the royal family the last 2 years, I don't think people are actually getting the seriousness of this. This is the Queen's son paying a fortune to settle a sexual abuse case against a 17-year-old. This is a scandal of epic proportions in royal history. And for him to stand up in a courtroom and be questioned about his sex life, it was never gonna happen. The Queen and the monarchy wouldn't have allowed this to happen.
Take a look at the front page of the Telegraph this morning. Now, it's saying the Queen is expected to help him pay the costs reported to be in the region of around £12 million. That's a lot of money. Although the actual figure hasn't been revealed. The Telegraph also reports that the Queen has privately already funded the Duke's legal fight, which, again, we're talking more millions of pounds, and she's thought to be partly paying for this settlement as well.
Well, as the Queen is one of the richest women in the world, I think it is absolutely right that she should help Prince Andrew. He didn't ask to be in this position. I'm not talking about his position with Virginia. I'm talking about his be born a prince, and with it come a lot of hazards, especially for someone like him. And I think it's essential that the Queen helps bail him out, because otherwise he might go towards some of his more shady friends and associates. And we've just had all that. So the Queen obviously wants to keep this as absolutely as sort of sharp and as clear as possible. She will bail him out, no one else, and it will be completely private. And I don't think we will ever know the amount.
The Queen is the most wealthiest woman probably in the world. And I just believe that
when they had that interview with Prince Harry, he said that the firm has no money. And I get really upset about it because they had no money to help Meghan. They said that she should go back into acting. And now the Queen is going to give 12 million, allegedly, money to help Andrew.
When he went to America of £20 million, so he did not have any money.
It's not
Prince Andrew's
it's not
got
quite the
money.
same as royal family wealth, though, the monarchy wealth, 20 million.
What?
20 million is not quite the same as financial support, the money, the unlimited access you have to money as a member of the royal family.
But she's saying that Harry didn't have any money. And I'm saying he did. He was rich.
Sorry, Jaheen. Yes, sorry, say that again. Sorry, kind of lost you there.
Sorry, I was saying that they were told for the security that she would have to go back to work. And I'm saying, well, if that's the case, what Ingrid said is true, and she is a royal biographer, she is saying that he was born into this. Well, Harry too was born into this.
Ingrid, it's a
so why is security,
fair
which
point,
is putting their life at risk?
Why can't the Queen support Harry and Meghan, who've chosen to leave, and part of it was chosen, part of it was the royal family, the monarchy saying they can't stay. Why could they not support them financially? They wanted privacy just so they could have a family. They're in love. They wanted to live their own life and didn't want the intrusion of the press, of the media. So why, in one instance, the Queen will help somebody who's actually tainted the royal family, you could easily argue, but not Harry and Meghan?
Can I say something here? The Queen has already indirectly helped Harry and Meghan because she helped Prince Charles with the monies for his divorce from Diana. And that money went, because she sadly died, that money went to the boys.
No,
so in a way, the Queen has helped Harry.
Directly in this
he
instance.
He had half of it and William had half.
No, Ingrid, directly in this instance, when it came to that decision that they lose their titles over just wanting to have a family, be by themselves and not have that press intrusion. Whether you agree with that or not, it's still nothing compared to taking the royal family, the Queen, into a sex assault case because of wrong decisions, poor decisions, and who knows what other reasons. Why can't the Queen, do you think, support Harry and Meghan in the same way?
Because, was that directed?
That was to you. But no, go on, Carol.
Can I just say, the reason that the Queen didn't support is because the claim they said they wanted independence and they wanted to be entirely independent. So you can't say, I want to be independent, but can you support
They wanted to be partly.
time?
They wanted to have some privacy, but still take part in some.
So
Is that Harry? Is it Harry? No. Okay.
The thing is, there's a little bit of whataboutery going on there because it's sort of slightly different issues. But I do think that what's going to happen going forward is that there will be more scrutiny. And I think Prince Charles is one of the royals who's really reading the room. He's already making noises about the royals reducing cost to the taxpayer and actually, the more superficial members.
And Charles did support Harry for the first 6 months after he left the
Let's take...
Well, Andrew has denied all wrongdoing and he hasn't been found guilty of a crime. But residents in York still want the Duke to lose his title. Now, I'll come to the panel in just a minute, but first we are joined by royal correspondent Emily Andrews. Emily, good morning. Now, you don't think that Prince Andrew should lose his Duke title, am I right?
That's right, Storm. Good morning from a beautiful morning at Buckingham Palace. Andrew's not here. Not quite such a sunny morning for him, I think. But I do think he should keep his Duke of York title. It was gifted to him by the Queen in memory of her father. He was Duke of York before he was king. And it was a personal gift from his mother. And I completely understand why people in York and the wider Yorkshire area may not want him to have that title. But only an Act of Parliament can take that away. And I think Boris Johnson has got more important things on his mind than stripping the grand old Duke of York.
I was going to ask you that. What would have to happen for him to lose the title? Can the Queen not just take it away and say, nope, not for you, it was a gift and now I'm taking it back?
As I understand it, it does have to be an Act of Parliament that revokes his title. It's an ancient dukedom. I mean, one thing is for sure, Prince Andrew, he will never lose that title. He was born a prince, he will die a prince. That's because he is the son of the reigning monarch. As for the Duke of York, well, I think that he's been called that for a long time. Perhaps the Queen could ask him not to use it in the same way that she's put his HRH, his Royal Highness title, in abeyance. He still keeps that HRH, but he can't use it. So perhaps a middle way would be for her to ask him to not use that Duke of York title. But to be honest, I can't see her doing that. He is still her favourite son, despite everything that's happened. And it was a personal gift from her to him.
Emily, I hear what you're saying. I want to throw that to Yasmin because she's making some faces at the moment, so I think she's feeling quite passionately the opposite way.
I just think this thing that's been said over and over again, and I'm really not disagreeing with you, saying he's her favourite son, he's her favourite son. She's raised a monstrous boy man. She should have absolutely dealt with him a long time ago when everybody thought it was really cute. He was Randy Andy and Air Miles Andy and bullying the staff. You read about the teddy bears and how he bullies people over how his teddy bears are sorted. And his mother still hangs on to this bond with him. I mean, he has magic, obviously, because his ex-wife is the same. But Emily, I think the people of York have the right